from Mercer, but I think everybody knows we also have music programs around, and Berry College is one of them. I've just been watching Berry from afar. My nephew actually plays in a conference for another team, and I'm watching Berry do this, and everybody else is kind of doing that. But Berry's got a new staff this year, I think, and Travis here, Travis Glennon, is part of that, and he's here to talk to us about FaceOff.
Awesome, thank you. All right. Okay, I'm going to start with a couple of things. First and foremost, I'm really happy to be here. I do also understand kind of what we're doing here. I was a high school coach for 3 years up in Massachusetts. So the way I'm going to kind of approach this is tailored towards what I've learned from the college game, but also how it can be effectively incorporated into a high school practice. Because I mean, I remember having days where we would get an hour, maybe hour and a half tops up in New England. Granted, we had a lot more snow in the spring, but it still adds to the same effect. I was going to play some music here, and it's nothing against anybody in this room. It's a history teacher thing in me. I figure if I'm playing some music and you guys get bored of what I'm doing, at least you can do something else and tune out. Any of you teachers in here, it works wonders, I swear to God. Nobody falls asleep. But, so the art of facing off. I talk kind of fast when I give presentations, mostly for the fact I hate giving presentations, but I love teaching. So my goal here today is to help teach a little bit as I can. I do also understand I'm probably one of the youngest ones in the room, so I appreciate all the veterans in here, everybody who's older than me, wiser than me, been here for a long time, giving me attention and allowing me to stand up here and present some facts for you and some drills. All right, so how this is going to go, we're going to go through introduction, talk about our standards as face-off players and what we expect as a team. That's one of the things that's very important with me is the idea of us, our, we. They're never my face-off players, it's never my percentages, it's always us, we, our. And what I think that does is allows the kids to buy in a little bit more than just what gets written in the paper. So, practice equilibrium, in other words, how you put all of this into an hour, hour and a half, 2 hour practice, okay? I'm sorry, the teacher in me forgot to say this. If anybody wants a copy of this slideshow, feel free to shoot me an email. There's a couple things on the back.
What we can do with that is you send it to Mike, and he'll send it to everybody.
Fantastic.
You don't have to mess with it.
Perfect. That'll be perfect. Because I know best as anybody in here being a teacher that nobody really wants to write down everything on a slide or what I say. But how to incorporate things into a practice. Winning drills. Drills that we do to get more successful. The goal of, well, let's face it, face-offs is a lot about statistics. The kids love them as face-off players. We use them as coaches. The papers love writing about them. And if they suck, they're awful. Berry sucked out of last year, I'll be honest with you. So, one of the things that I'm very happy about, also I apologize, I am a northerner, so if I come a little crass with my language, full out apology right now. But what I will say is with statistics, you can use them either way. But the goal with statistics is to get the best advantage you can get to get within a 1-goal game. All right, and I don't know if anybody here was at the IMCLA convention this past winter, but the assistant from Michigan actually brought that up, and it's one of the greatest points that I can view as a face-off guy. What can we do, what drills can we incorporate to get our team to that 1-goal game? So when it's a 1-goal game, anybody's business. Now, when you're in a 1-goal game ahead or behind, it's anybody's game. There's 10 seconds or 10 minutes. So, some winning drills. Game day. We'll talk a little bit about what to do on game day to get your guys prepped, get them ready for the show. What else? Final thoughts and closings. Throughout the whole presentation, too, I wish I had some of these when I was a high school coach, but I like to put up a few recruiting hoops. In other words, some words to wisdom that we'd like to share as college coaches to high school coaches to better understand the recruiting game a little bit. So for instance, rapid growth lacrosse, it's becoming flooded with talent, and I can't stress this enough. The best way to get your player to a program in college is to make sure they stay a student athlete. If we can't get them into school, we can't get them on the field. Okay? And that's very, very important to us. We love kids, we love players, but if we can't get them into school, it's heartbreaking for us, and it's heartbreaking for the kids. So being a student athlete is huge. That's one of the reasons that I chose Berry. It's very, very student-oriented. Okay. I'm going to take a couple minutes. This is the chance I get to brag. I don't care about myself. I get to brag a little bit about my upbringing. As you know, I'm the Berry College Assistant Men's Coach right now. One of the reasons I was brought in was because of my FaceOff background. When I was at Cushing Academy, we were flat out terrible. When I first got there, our FaceOff percentage, we hadn't kept in about 3 years because we didn't have a FaceOff guy. By the time I left, I'm very proud of the fact that we were, as a team, with four FaceOff guys in the rotation, above a 74% FaceOff percentage. Now, granted, we played some teams worse than us, but we also played some very talented New England prep school teams. So, the part that I like to brag about is the fact of my upbringing. I had the pleasure to be mentored by what I consider two of the greatest lacrosse minds. The reason why I got to be mentored by them was, one is my father, who's been in the coaching game for 20 some odd years. The reason all of us played lacrosse in the family. He brought RIT to the quarterfinals for a few years. He was a college coach for a few years. He's been at Phillips Exeter Academy forever. Pretty much anything I have as far as a lacrosse IQ, I owe to him. So I like bragging about that. He's a whiz when it comes to defense. I mean, I think my last year at Cushing, when we played them, they had 5 long poles committed to Division I. You don't play 5 defensemen in the game, so that's something. I hate that. But it was great. So a lot of I owe that to you, or to them. Okay? The other one is my brother. My brother was the assistant coach at Harvard for years. He's at Delaware, a couple other places. Really, the introduction, I just like bragging about my family, to be honest. So I owe a lot to him. He's the face-off specialist. I mean, I swear to you right now, if anything up here doesn't make sense, if I screw something up, that's on me, because all the knowledge I gained was from him. I learned how to be a face-off player from him by not choice. He kind of made me, but he's got an IQ that's unbelievable. The things he's done with the face-off over the last few years has been phenomenal. So that's my little spiel, all that good stuff, more recruiting boost. Okay, our standards. These are our core standards. I apologize if I'm rushing through. Again, like I said, I'm a teacher. If you need me to slow down at any point, don't even raise your hand and yell at me. You got to get up and leave the room because I suck at talking. It happens. Get out of the room, go take a break, take a phone call. But our standards, I'll read through them quickly, then we'll talk about them. Confident, not cocky. You guys might have heard that before. Nose to the ground. Stay in the fight, role players, no fogo. I'm actually going to write that up on the board. I may have just made a lot of enemies in this room, but we like face-off midfielders. That's what we prefer them as. We do understand there are face-off midfielders who we will tell never to actually pick up the ball in their stick, but I'll get to that in a minute. Actually, I'm going to pause myself right here before we're actually going into the content. One of the things I picked up at a conference a couple of years ago was the fact of presentations and things. I like to do in the classroom too when I was teaching. I usually say, I miss this, so I apologize, but I usually start off with something that I want you to take away. You're not going to remember everything I say here, I promise you. You're not going to remember half the things I say. If you remember 3 things I say out of this, I did my job, I did well, and I'm happy. But if you can walk away with anything from here, it doesn't have anything to do with lacrosse, or with facing off. But I'll tell you this honestly, I know, only been in the game about 5 years, I understand that, and a lot of you have a lot more experience than I do. With kids in general, with lacrosse players especially. Here's what I want to say, the thing I've learned in the short years that I've been doing this, and I hope if you take nothing else away, you take this. If you show a kid that you care about him as a person, he's going to do whatever he can for you on the field. And I promise you that right now. I promise you that. I've learned that in 5 years, and that's one of the things that I love most about coaching is that if you show a kid, I don't care if it's the kid can't afford lunch, buy him a hamburger, or the kid got an A on a test and he's getting D's, and you tell him that's the greatest thing in the world, or if he just makes a great shot and you say, hey, that was one hell of a shot, man. Hell of a shot. You show the kid you care about him as a person, he's going to do whatever he can for you on the field, and I promise you that. Wise word wisdom, of somebody who hasn't put the full life in. I apologize. But, anyways, 1, 2, 3, 65, 25, 10, we'll get to that. Playing parts and character, the acronym depth, all that stuff. Okay, very simple. Our very first standard as a face-off player, you have to be confident, but you cannot be cocky. The second that you start getting cocky at the face-off X, you lose. I guarantee you. You lose. Learned it as a player, okay? I learned it as a coach, and I see players go through it all the time. Be confident. Expect that you are going to win. Okay? Expect that you are going to win, but prepare to lose. Right? Expect you're going to win, but prepare to lose. And if you do that as a face-off player, you're going to be confident. But if you expect to win, and only win, I'm sorry. It doesn't happen. You may go 100% in a game once in your life. Once in your life. But that's it. It never happened to me. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm sure it either will or has happened. We want that nose to the ground individual. We want the kid who is going to put his nose in the ground and fight. Because if you've ever seen a face-off, that's what you have to do. You've got to get in, you've got to get your nose to the ground, and you've got to push yourself to be victorious. Stay in the fight. I'm not military. I grew up in military in a family. My sister married a military man. This is one of the things when you walk around with a lot of military, and Coach Boss, I know you're in here, so I'm probably embarrassing myself. But stay in the fight. My sister's husband, it's the one thing he said. I called him about a goalie a couple years ago, and I said, hey, my kid's okay, you know, but he's getting frustrated in games. He has a chance to be great. What should I tell him? You know, what can I work on with him? What can we do? The only thing he said to me is tell him to stay in the fight. Doesn't matter. You stay in the fight. Once you step foot on that field, you stay in the fight. When you get down in your stance at the cross, you stay in the fight. If you stay in the fight, bless you, good things are going to happen. Okay? Stay in the fight. Those are the three core things we are looking for out of the integrity of a face-off player. If you're not going to stay in the fight, if you're not going to be willing to get bloody, get dirty, put your nose in the ground, and you're going to be overly cocky, go play attack. That's what we do. Attacker. Go play attack. Okay? Role players, and I say this very, very meaningfully. That word shouldn't be said, FOGO. It's a role. You are doing a role as a face-off midfielder, and we want you to know that. Okay? You think about it, one of the hardest positions in football is a quarterback because either everybody loves you or everybody hates you. All right, well, let's go back to lacrosse. Everybody hates you. Everybody loves you when you're doing great. Most of the time, people hate you as a face-off player. You lose every face-off in the game, people hate you. I hate my face-off game when we lose every face-off in the game. It sucks. Then I hate myself at night because I didn't teach them well. But know a role. Okay, know the role, know what the role is, and be accepting of that role. If you know you're only going to get to play face-off, who cares? Know that role, love that role, be that role. Okay? No FOGO, enough said, you're a face-off midfielder. The problem with face-off get-off is, like I said before, you will not win every face-off. Sorry, you won't. It will not happen. If it does, come tell me, I'll let you slap me in the face, and tell me I suck, I don't care, that's fine. But if you go your whole career winning every face-off, wow, God bless you. That's phenomenal. You will not win every face-off. So as a FOGO, the problem that I have with that is we need you to be something more. We don't expect you to go down and score 15 goals in a season. But we expect that if you lose that face-off, you damn well better be defensively better than your man is offensively. That makes sense. Even if it's you versus the other face-off guy. If you are a better defensive specialist than that guy is an offensive specialist, I'm happy with you. I don't care if you ever pick up the ball, if you ever get a shot. I really hope you don't, but I'm okay with that. The FOGO, to me, lets kids in their head think, all I have to do is take a face-off. I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way. Sometimes you have to play defense. Some of these kids, God forbid, they have to play offense. But there are points. We try to keep our face-off guys on the field as much as we can. Mismatches, substitution, it's a phenomenal way to score easy points. And let's be honest, guys. As a coach, why not get easy points? Okay? So, know your role. Don't be a FOGO. And don't teach your kids to be a FOGO. I'm not saying teach your kid to be the best midfielder in the world, But if he can't handle the ball and sucks offensively, put him on the crease and sub him out to the midfield and hopefully catch something on the fly. You're at least using him in some sort of way. Okay? 1, 2, 3. First move, second move, third move. You have to have 3 moves as a face-off guy. First move, second move, third move. First move, you use 65% of the time. You just should expect to use it 65% of the time. There's alterations to that move, but you should expect to use it. Second move, about a quarter of the time. Okay? About a quarter of the time you're using that secondary move, because if somebody's beating your primary move, you need to have a move, so you can follow me here, that counters their counter. So if you're a clamp guy, and all of a sudden they're beating you with a jump, okay, your secondary move should be something under and forward. Alright, so your secondary move should be something that counters their counter. Right? Playing parts. The thing that I look for when I look for a face-off guy. Okay, we had none at Cushing, we found them. We had maybe 2 at Berry last year, and we have about 4 this year. Okay? I tell you guys, honestly, and my kids know this, and I don't mean to embarrass them or put them down, because this probably is one of the best character group of kids, but also hardest working group of kids I've ever worked with. And they have some of the best skill I've seen so far. But we sucked at face-offs. And one of the things that we looked for this fall with our kids is a kid who can play in parts. When you get out to that face-off cross, that's the part you're playing right now. Nothing else matters. You play that part. You win that face-off, you go to offense, you're playing that offensive part. You lose that, you go to defense, you're playing that defensive part. You go to play defense, goalie saves it, you're breaking out on the shoulder, you're playing that clearing part. You need that in a face-off. If you don't have that, your guy's stuck just thinking about the cross. I'll be honest, probably our one player at Berry who has the best, hands down, flat out, best face-off move on the team, could, if he wanted to, win probably 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 against anyone else on our team, 9 out of 10 in a game, is Max Merker. And I know that name's familiar around here. The problem is, anyone knows Max Merker, his head is geared towards offense, which I am 100% fine with, because the kid can shoot like lightning. But the problem is, when he goes down for a face-off, he's not playing the face-off part. He's playing the offensive part, trying to take the face-off, and that's not going to work. So you need a kid who can play in parts. Alright, who can play in parts. When he's at the face-off, he's playing the cross. When he's playing defense, so on and so forth. Character. Okay, character. There's nothing more important to me, this is a personal opinion, than the character of the players on your team. Alright, and that translates 100% into your face-off plays. You will never hear me say, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. If you're cheating, you're not trying hard enough, I'm sorry. Okay? You should not have to win by cheating. I want a kid with good character who's going to go out there and he's going to work his ass off to win a face-off. He's going to do everything he can. He's going to have good character. He's not going to sit up and start taking swings at the back of the guy's neck. He's not going to start grabbing the ball and throwing it out and then giving the palms up like, are you kidding me? I mean, are you kidding me? And then walk off the field. I hate that. Character. To me, character is defined through 3 things. Discipline, effort, purpose, and pride. Okay? You have discipline, you're good in my books. You do everything you can do with the best effort you can, I'm happy with it. If you play with purpose, you will never be disappointed. If you have pride in what you do, it means it's because you did it well. So those are the 4 things that define character. That was a really long-winded slide. Pretty much just read off the slide, but I apologize. Another recruiting boost. Read that. Moving on. Practice equilibrium. I'm sure this is what you guys kind of more or less want to hear about. Pre-practice, hidden elements, standing drills, game situations, okay, pre-practice. I went to the IMCL convention. If anybody else here did, there were 3 discussions about face-offs. The opening. Anyone know who the coach of the year was? Sorry, I love quizzing teacher. Anyways, the guy from Duke, right, was the coach of the year. He gave a presentation. Opening presentation. Face-offs is the most important thing in the game. If you don't win face-offs, you're not getting possession. You aren't. It's very true. You can't get those easy possessions, then you're already down in the game. Well, Duke coach gets up there. I don't care about face-offs in practice. Doesn't matter to me. Doesn't matter. We practice it, but it's not a big deal. Two opposite ends of the spectrum. Okay? I care about it in practice because I love face-offs, but the attitude you take towards face-offs is what's going to rub off on your players. Right? Now, if you have a team that can successfully just wheel around the idea of not winning any face-offs, good for you, send them all to Berry. Okay? But chances are, those are possessions you can easily get. So, pre-practice, we spend half an hour of voluntary time before every single practice. I also put up half an hour throughout the week of voluntary time with face-off players. And it's open call. If you think you want to do some face-offs, you can come during those times. Can't guarantee anything, but you can come. Pre-practice. Here's where you do all the little nitpicky stuff that you would love to do with your face-off guys. So speed work, hand work, agility work, footwork, boxing out work. Any of those little things that you can't incorporate into drills, into live drills during your day, that's when you do it, your pre-practice. At coaching, we only did it for 15 minutes because that's all we had. Kids were in classes, out to practice, all that stuff. And most of the time, helmet and gloves. Never let my kids face off without helmet and gloves. Yeah, it's not, I mean, it's a safety thing, let's be honest. But you're never going to take your face off without your helmet on. So why practice without your helmet? Right? So, pre-practice is important. Pre-practice is where you put in your footwork, the ball drops, the scuttles, all that good stuff, the little four-cone drills. That's the time when you put up just face-off specific drills. Because let's be honest, to anyone who's not a face-off player, it sucks. To coaches who hate face-offs, those drills suck. Right? I love face-offs, and I'm not doing that. But they have to get done pre-practice. This is also where you're going to find the kids who really are going to be willing to put their nose to the ground. They're willing to come out a half an hour before practice, 10 minutes before practice, after practice for 10 minutes. That's the kid that I'm going to put across. And that's the kid that I have faith in who's going to do whatever he can. The hidden element. One of the things I love about face-offs, you can hide it in practice. You can hide face-off work throughout the day in practice. I'll give you two major examples. Number one, this one I picked up at the convention this winter. I had heard it before, never really thought about it, and then when teams who go 80% on face-off start talking about it, I feel like they have a good stance to be in. But find out your average face-offs per game. Every team's different. If your team takes an average of 15, if your team takes an average of 23, if your team takes an average of 2, I want to talk to you about defense, because you must be a defensive specialist. But whatever it is, figure it out, and every face-off player has to take that many face-offs throughout practice. So if it's a talking point or it's this or that, all they have to do, get a player who's injured or an assistant coach, have them run up and say, hey coach, we're going to do a face-off right now real quick. Great, down, set, go. Take the face-off, that's one for both of those kids. Okay? So we do with our kids this spring. They'll have to take, on average, 19 face-offs throughout the practice. You can do it whenever, however, whatever, but they have to do it, and they have to go and actually it'll be with Coach Ross is still here, but it'll be with our Coach Ross throughout the day. Okay? It's a pretty fantastic way for them to get practice. Standing drills. I'm going to, I think I'm supposed to do this later on, but I'm going to give it to you now. Standing drills, in other words, those drills as high school coaches you have to incorporate, but it sucks because you have 30 kids and you have 9 kids standing in line. Fast breaks, the biggest one. Fast breaks, to me, personally, my own opinion as a humble coach without a ton of experience, fast breaks are the easiest one to incorporate. This was our favorite drill. Okay, this was our favorite drill that we did as far as incorporating the face-off into, I'm really out of practice with teaching, but into the game, okay, into the practice. All you do, you have a face-off guy here and a face-off guy here, okay? you have them face off towards one end. So if we're set up this way, all right, if we're set up in your L break or the flat break, it doesn't matter. But if you're here, on the whistle, both face off guys go at the same time. They come down, they work a fast break face off. It happens in games. If you don't believe me, look at the Duke championship game a few years ago. It can make a difference. So it's just on their own. There's nobody in front of them. They make a move, pop it forward, they come out with it, they go down, fast break. You have the defenseman in here, so it's a true 4-on-3. Shot, goalie save, whatever, both ends. Second whistle. Guy breaks to the middle, guy breaks up the side. Goalie either pulls the ball out, has it in a stick, short guy, long guy. Face-off guy has got to hustle back in. Okay? Now both these players come down in your slow break the opposite way. It's going, you can do it one way to start to get the kids comfortable with it. We like to do it two ways, back at Cushing. Okay, it also trains them to keep their head up. All right, so lead guy, down the side, cut through, follow behind, set up the whole box. But it's beautiful because you work on fast breaks, face-offs, 4-on-3s, into 5-on-4s. And you also get your face-off guys working on riding. Okay, working on hustling their ass back to cover that deep guy. Okay? That's one of our favorite ones. But standing drills, anytime you have lines, okay, where they're just standing, you should be able to get them into some sort of drill that can start with a face-off. Right? We used to, honestly, we used to do our 3v2 ground balls from the midfield. Oh, and by the way, you can switch these guys. So the next time you just look in this way, pulls it backwards, and it goes back right here. Anyways, what we used to do is we used to do 3v2s, line these two guys up here or on here, wherever it is, and have them make a move in a face, pop the ball out, right? And then it's a 3-on-2. They're involved in the 3-on-2, but they're working on face-offs. Okay? Plus, it made it so that I didn't have to carry my stick every second of the field, and I could run around. Game situations. Pretty much what it is. We used to always run the last 4 minutes of the day game situation. So we put a clock on the wall. 2 minutes and 46 seconds, 1 minute and 33 seconds, 27 seconds. Okay? Start it with a face-off. Right? And give them a score. White has 2, blue has 6. There's a minute 47 left. Face-off. Play the game out. Play it for a minute 47 to see if you can get them going. Okay, just keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. All right, so game situations, we always started with the face-off. All right, if somebody scores a goal, bring them back to the cross. Face-off again, stop the time, face them up, keep going. It gets the kids excited and anticipating game-like situations. So that's what I mean by game situations. Put a 3-minute clock on, a minute and a half clock on, and just run them. Idle time. It's just what it is. I always told my kids, look, it's up to you. If we're taking a 2-minute water break, it takes you 45 seconds to get water, it takes you 12 seconds to take a face-off. Okay? Get some water, take a face-off. Right? You don't need water, grab another guy, work on some hand things. Right? We probably our best face-off kid during idle time would just go over to the sideline, grab the ball, work on his chops, work on his swings, work on everything, just apply himself. And he became excellent by the time he graduated. So, idle time. So those are the easiest ways. I never tell coaches, I never wanted to do it myself, and it's hard because you want face-offs to be good, but you don't want to just set up face-off drills. They're boring. You don't want to just set up things for face-offs in the middle. You don't want to set up time. You want to go offensive side, defensive side. We're high school coaches. We don't want to send our face-off guys down to do their own thing. We want them shooting. We want them learning to play defense. These are ways you can incorporate all of that into a practice without sacrificing your players to become better lacrosse athletes. All right? Practice equilibrium. All right, winning drills. A little bit of talk, a little bit of drills. Rock, paper, scissors. I'm sure everyone of you has heard of it. Rock, paper, scissors. Some of you may have even heard of this explanation before. Facing off is a game of rock, paper, scissors. Right? Rock beats scissors, scissors beats paper, paper beats rock. Well, guess what? You have 3 basic moves in the lacrosse world. All have different adaptations, but they're all the same 3 basic moves. You have the clamp, you have the jump, which is anything over the ball, and you have the under, through, laser, whatever you want to call it, which is where you're pushing the ball forward. Just like rock, paper, scissors. In general concept and principle, a clamp will be a laser under, through, okay, because you're pushing the ball into that clamp, right? A laser under, through, whatever you want to call it, will be a jump because you're clearing that space from that person going over the ball, right? And a jump, in principle, will be a clamp because you are stopping. You are topping that half of their stick and hopefully keeping them from actually getting over the ball. So it's a game of rock, paper, scissors. And we always take that attitude into any drill we do, any concept we do with face-offs. All right, the stance. This might take me a few seconds, but we'll go over it real quick. 3 basic things. I am one of those true believers in the classic stance, but you never stop learning as a coach, which I'm sure all of you know, and I'm learning that. I'm okay with other stances too. You have to be okay with it. We're switching up one of our face-off players. I call it the Long Island style, where your knee's on the ground, and I've classically always yelled at kids for putting a knee under them. This Long Island style, which I call, I don't know what everyone else calls it, is catching on and is doing phenomenal. And if you don't believe me again, check out Yale's face-off kid from last year. Lights out. Okay? So, but the classic stance, 3 things. Hands, okay, feet, hips. Hands, feet, hips, every single time. Here are a few tricks. With your stick, when you put your hands together, I don't care if you're motorcycle grip or if you are normal grip. I teach normal grip because my theory is you can always pick up a ball. Motorcycle grip, pain in the ass to pick up a ball like this, okay? So, normal grip. Your bottom hand, if you extend your pinky and extend your thumb, your hand should never go closer than that. Never go closer, okay? At the same time, you don't want to be too far down. If you're too far down, you lose mobility. Gain strength, lose mobility. Gain mobility, lose strength. Kind of right in that middle there is where you want to be. Right? That's your hands every time. Get your kids used to it. Feet, shoulder width apart. The way I teach it, your front foot is at a 45-degree angle towards the lacrosse ball. Okay, it's pointing right towards the lacrosse ball at a comfortable distance. Your back foot is shoulder width apart, like a good athletic stance. Okay, your front toe lines up anywhere. This is your foot from the middle of your inside foot to 2 inches behind the heel. Any closer, you gain mobility, you lose stability. Any further back, you gain stability, you lose mobility. So that's really where you want to be. Okay? Very basic, very boring, very classic. Here's what we teach our kids as far as our hips. Hips are the killer in face-offs because it happens throughout the game. Kid starts out great, and then all of a sudden, by the end of the day, he's doing this. Okay? And it kills us. What we teach our kids as far as hips, it's a very easy hip roll. I apologize, most of you won't be able to see this. We are working with our face-off guys. We will actually have videos of all this face-off work up at some point, so you'll be able to see this online at some point. But we get them in their stance, and what we tell them to do is sit on their back calf. Sit right down on the back calf. Okay, it's going to be a little uncomfortable. And all they have to do from here is take their chest and put it towards the ball and bring their head down. And when you do that, you get your perfect center of gravity. If you try to just bend your knees and get into it, we all have that tendency to put our haunches up. So what we teach our kids, and again, I stole this, right? But what we teach our kids is literally sit down on that back calf, and then roll your chest in towards your front instep. And that will get you a good, low, solid base of form that you're not going to get knocked over. Okay? So the 3 most important things about your stance are hands, feet, and hips. Best counter in the book is the box out. Okay? All we teach with the box out is literally your hands and feet should always move simultaneously. So on the whistle, your front foot steps 4 inches. Your front step steps 4 inches as your stick moves. The box out, best counter in the book, you can't even get close to touching the ball, is taking that hip and putting it right through that guy's inside shoulder. And it's not a little squirming motion, it's step, and it's right into his head. Okay, if anyone's played basketball here, you throw a good strong hip into somebody's side, they're going backwards and you're taking the ball. Okay, that's down in the book. Now, I know I'm kind of killing our time, so I apologize, but try to run through this. Let's see. For cone drill, this teaches our guys how to successfully attack a ball in any point of a face-off. Okay? You can do it from anywhere, find the line, and all you got to do is put a cone ahead, cone to the side, side, okay, backwards. It teaches them to move their hips and open up. Players here, no ball, just a stick. Okay, no ball. Every single time they get up, line up in their position. As soon as they are, it's a go, okay? And you tell them, all right? Right, left, back, forward. Their directions, not mine. So right is my left, and left, my right. As they do it, it works on them. So if we tell them forward, all right, and if we blow the whistle, we tell them forward, then they're mimicking that. They pop the ball out, they put that hip on the side of this guy's head to box him out, they take 3 steps low, touch the cone, backpedal, and get ready. Okay? If we tell them left, so they're left, right? They're mimicking it down the line. So they're here, they step, and they pull it down the line. Now they box out, okay? Or they swing that hip across, and they play it like they're giving their wing a shot at it. Okay? Let them just slow down into it, touch the cone, backpedal, get ready. If it goes backwards, if we tell them back, on the whistle here, step, pop, get it behind you, do the box out, sprint, touch, return back to the middle. Okay? The last one, which I found a lot of kids don't know. This is your dead space as a face-off player. 45 degrees to your right. It's your dead space because I can never really physically put the ball in. This space is controlled by my opponent, but that doesn't mean he owns that space. The easiest way, when you tell him to go to the right, or sorry, to their right, all right, easiest thing is step, take this back foot, and cross it. I've now put my whole body in his way. Anywhere in this 45-degree angle, I'm winning. Okay? It's got to be quick. So on the whistle, he steps, crosses, and sprints to the cone, touches it, and back up. Right? One of the hardest things to learn, one of the best things you can learn as a face-off guy. Step, crossover, box him out, get going. Okay. We have sumo, very simple. Very simple. And I apologize for not having the videos of these. We start on Monday. I don't even want to get into it, but it is my fault, and I apologize to you for that. So, sumo, get a crease. Okay, get a crease. Guys face off right on the line that the goal sits on. All of your other face off guys line up outside. They have to keep it within distance for them to pick up. All of these guys on the outside are on a team. One guy's on his own team, one guy's on his own team. If he picks it up, he does 10 push-ups. He picks it up, he does 10 push-ups. Okay, so either of these guys pick it up, the other one does 10 push-ups. These guys out here pick it up, both in the middle do 20. Okay? Point being, we want them to understand it's not just about getting the ball out, it's about getting it out to a spot. In contrary to belief, the crease is a good accurate portion of how far you want the ball going away from you when you draw it out. Okay, sumo. King of the cross, very simple. It's like knockout, it's like any of those. Line you guys up, first person to win however many people are in King of the Cross. So if there's 6 people, he's going to face five other guys. First one to win 5 face-offs. That's what we do before games. That's who we choose who starts our face-off. Right? Fast break, slow break face-off. That's the drill I showed you guys earlier. Right? Where you go in the fast break, off the face-off, and the face-off guys tailing back to stop the slow break. Short field, short time. Bring the goals up to the box. Okay? Right up to the boxes. You have 2 attackmen. You have 1 defenseman. You have 2 attackmen, 1 defenseman. You have a face-off guy in a wing. You have a face-off guy in a wing. All right? You can't go over midfield as an attacker defense. You face it off, and you've got 35 seconds. I don't know why it's 35 seconds, but what it's always been. 35 seconds to score a goal. It should happen within 12. The beauty of this is you get face-off work. It keeps them to keep it in control of their area, but you get those nice inside finishes by the attackman and those nice inside defensive moves by your long sticks. Okay, so short field, short time. That's another one. All right. Again, I apologize. I'm really trying to power through so we can get to everything without keeping you here all day. So not the long comments again. Game day, depth chart. Here's what you should have. 2 360 guys. 2 guys who can go. They have 3 great moves that they use. They won't kill your team on the offensive half. They can play good defense on the defensive half. 2 of those guys, you need them. Right? You need, I even wrote this down because I always forget before you go up to the game. But 1 defensive specialist. Right? So 1 guy who is, he's your face. Again, I'm going to say all these types. 1 of your 360 guys can be your defensive specialist guy as well. But 1 guy who is just flat out your best defensive faceoff. He's going to just strip anybody with the ball when they pick it up if he loses the faceoff. On the contrary, you need 1 offensive guy. If he wins the ball and picks it up, you're either going to get a shot or a goal. Okay? And again, this can be the same 2 kids every time. 1 long stick guy. The only reason I love a long stick face-off guy is because having been a short stick face-off guy, it scares the hell out of me. Okay? I don't know why. It's one of those things in our head when we see 6 feet of pole line up against us, I know my elbows are going to hurt. And I automatically start to change what I'm doing. That's really all I ask our long stick guys to do. Get out there, get in their head, make a move, sure, but take the ball away from them. Take it away from them. Don't give a fast breakup, take the ball away. If you can win it, win it. Right? But that's what we ask. And then 1 counter specialist. That 1 kid, we have one, his name's Clayton Glasson. He can probably lift this whole cafeteria up on his back and throw it 50 yards and win the discus or something. I don't know. He's an animal. He's our counter specialist. He basically, all we ask him is go out there, Clayton, jump with the shaft of your stick, make sure his stick can't get over the ball, and then I just want you to be a college wrestler and just wrestle your way through there, knock him around, give us a chance at it. Basically, your counter specialist is your number 1, your number 2, your number 3, your number 4, your number 15 sucks. They aren't winning any face-offs, and you just need someone to get out there to stall so that your wing play can come in and take over. Okay? The day before, I know it's high school, you might not have a chance. They can watch film the day before either themselves or their opponent. You have a better percentage of winning. Themselves or their opponent. If you can do both, even better. Officials. Okay. We all yell at officials. Most officials hate every coach in this room, including myself, at some point in our career. But the kids don't have to be hated by the officials. I promise you. Have your face-off guys go up, and the easiest things are, excuse me, sir, I'm one of the face-off midfielders on this team. I was hoping you could just make sure everything's legal so I can fix anything. And he'll go, every official will go, sure, absolutely, let me take a look. By the way, sir, I mean, it's beautiful, isn't it? Oh, yeah. I mean, it's phenomenal. I can't believe, that we're over here in Alabama playing, and it was raining in Georgia. Oh, you're from Georgia. You don't want a good note with the officials, okay? Because I guarantee when your face-off guy has an infraction, stands up and goes, fuck. And it happens. The official's going to look at him and go, hey, Jim, come on, man, you can't do that. Come on, let's go. You can do that. But if they're in their ear, okay, sir, he's not lining up, sir, he's not, and then all of a sudden they stand up and swears, there goes the yell. Okay? Easy way to prevent yourself. It's kind of, I don't know how if that's even morally or ethically wrong, but you don't want to know what the officials. In the back.
Relationship management.
What's that?
Relationship management.
Relationship management, absolutely, because I'm not good at it with officials, but if my players can. Reactionary warm-up, progression warm-up. I actually kept a list. I put a list on the back table so I don't bore you with those. But reactionary is basically working on timing, speed, that kind of stuff. Progression is going from everything from your hands, feet, and hips, all the way to a live drill, okay? These are the 2 staples that we do before every single game, okay? There's a list on there if you want it. Keep it competitive. We do King of the Cross as our last thing. And the kid who wins King of Lacrosse takes the first face-off. He may never take a face-off again that entire game, but you know what? It pushes a drive in them to want to win, to want to be, and it keeps the kid who maybe knows he's the fifth face-off kid working his tail off during practices because maybe he will get a starting face-off. You don't have to do starting face-off. You can guarantee him like second quarter face-off, something, but at least gives them the promise of getting on the field. Your view is their view. I said this before, and I mean it. The way that you approach face-offs as a coach, your mentality is how they will see it. If you give off the persona that face-offs are not important, guys, we don't care about them. It's fine. Go do it on your own. It's not a big deal. We'll win other ways. What do you think they're going to start thinking? The exact same thing. So, and it's fine. However you want to view face-offs is incredibly up to you as a head coach, as an assistant coach, as whoever it is. But your view is going to be their view. Okay? However you portray face-offs to your team, that's how they're going to respect it on the field. Final thoughts, because I'm so sorry I went way over, and I apologize, and I know you guys have been here a long day, but practice film. If you can film anything in practice of them facing off, they will get better. And it doesn't have to be setting up a drill and putting a camera on a tripod, staring down, and having their manager sit there and zoom out. Half these kids in this country who play lacrosse have a GoPro. Throw it on someone's helmet. Let them face off. You may not get the best of both worlds, but at least they'll see what's going on. Everybody on our team has some sort of smartphone. Have the manager pull it out and just film them on a smartphone, okay? Whatever you need to do. Stretching. If your face-off guys do not stretch 5 times during a practice, they are going to get hurt. Think about what a face-off looks like. If you've ever known a wrestler, how much does a wrestler stretch? You need to have them stretch. There's too much joint movement, muscle movement that does not constantly stretch throughout practice. Strength and conditioning. Number 1, get them in a weight room. And you have to be strong. But number 2, it's not just about strength. It's about mobility and it's about stability. Okay, walking push-ups. Get those joints used to constant movement and constant use. Right? Rotator cuffs, ankles. Anything you can do to work on their stability as an athlete is going to make them better because they won't get hurt. Never stop teaching, never stop learning. I never want to stop teaching, and I never want to stop learning. And I use that as a personal philosophy in my life, but I especially use it as a professional. I never want to stop teaching, but if I will never want to stop teaching, I have to keep learning. Right? Darwin had a theory. I don't know if this is pretty new, but if anybody's heard of this, the strongest survive. Okay? You have to be willing to adapt. You have to. The game of lacrosse changes. Every 2 years, there's a movement put through the lacrosse world to get rid of face-offs. And if that happens, I damn well better adapt, or I probably won't find a job most places. So, be willing to adapt to the way the game's changing. If you've always hated kids who put a knee on the ground, go watch Yale play lacrosse, watch their face-off guy. It changed me. Right? And again, lastly, like I said, your state of mind. Your state of mind is going to be what your kid's state of mind is as far as face-offs. Thank yous. This is all myself. Thank you, gentlemen, for having me here. I greatly appreciate it. I love doing these things. I love teaching. Yes?